Hey, true believers, Englentine here. This is the last chapter of what was a very long live stream, and I'm joined by Corrupt, Dalton, Jonathan Breen, and even Mr. E2099 towards the end. And well, as you could see, CBR blocked any discussion of Jawbreakers. We had to address that, and I know. As far as this video is concerned, I'm late. As far as the live stream, we weren't, but it was buried 3 hours in, and I figured, you know, I should put this front and center so everybody could get our opinion on it. This one isn't as bad as the Lando, so there's not as much cussing, but there is some, so beware. Now, I understand that CBR is its own entity, and they can put on whatever they want. So if they don't want anybody talking about Jawbreakers, it's their site. They could do whatever they want. That's freedom. They have that freedom. That being said, I do think we need to address this. I'm sure other people have already. I know Malin and Yellow Flash got together, and I didn't listen to it, but I'm pretty sure they talked about it.
Yeah.
Web did a really good video on it earlier.
I'm pretty sure. I haven't seen it yet, but he does good videos, and I cannot doubt that he did. So let's go over this. It says, hey, everyone. Over the past couple of days, we've had some folks try to start discussions relating to the anarchic.
Say it with a gay accent.
No.
Okay.
Over the past couple of days, we had some folks try to start discussions relating to Antarctic Press Jawbreaker story. As a moderator team, we have decided that we do not wish it discussed and deleted such threads. Why? Is a pretty obvious and fair question. The answer is very simple. We, again, as a moderator team, do not wish to give DNC and the followers thereof any sort of platform to advertise their particular brand of nonsense. We have looked at all the information available and concluded that the viewpoints involved are abhorrent, the behavior sickening, and the general attitude a detriment to civil discourse. In short, they give comic book fandom a bad name. Whoa.
Soldiers, wait. Soldiers deserve to die. There you go. That's Michelle Perez.
This is an issue that is, we're going to get there, Corrupt. This is an issue that is not open for debate or discussion at this time. Thank you for both your consideration and understanding. Please note this message is on behalf of CBR Forum's moderator team and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of individuals or CBR as a web bullshit. It represents.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
It represents CBR fucking completely.
Don't use the word nonsense.
Yeah,
that's garbage. Michelle Perez can talk about wanting soldiers and shit to die, but you know.
In all honesty, let's talk. First of all, it represents CBR because the representative of CBR said, "Fuck you guys, you cannot even talk about this book." It doesn't matter what anybody says from here on out on CBR because you cannot talk about this book. The book itself is a jungle story. This is what we're told. This is what we believe, and I believe them. It's not a political story. It's a jungle story. It's about guys going into a jungle. It's an action story. It's not like they're this brand of particular anything. They have not done. They say, well, we have done all the research. No, they haven't. What they did was they were prejudiced. They heard somebody say something, someone said something once long ago, and they decided that they were going to believe it and only it forever and ever on without question. And that's what's happening. Right now, I'm searching to see if anybody else has brought it up. That's what I'm doing.
It's because they're friends with people in the industry, so they're just doing what they're told, really.
Yeah, it's this person committed double plus ungood wrong think, therefore they're banned, and they thought police would be around.
You know, the thing is, these people who made this decision to answer the topic on this forum would probably be also the same people who beat us in our sleep for talking about it in our own homes.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Censoring it is going to make it bigger. Jawbreakers is going to hit 1 million. So the folks at CBR want to work at Marvel, not surprising. If someone removes a thread and someone says it doesn't represent them, it all reeks. Yeah, it's absolutely. This is CBR, by the way. This is one of those things. I said this before about Bleeding Cool shuts down your computer. Don't go to Bleeding Cool. I do news stories every morning. I look on these. I'm not gonna lie. I look at DC, then Marvel, then I'll look at CBR, and I'll look at that Outhouse, all the stuff, and I'll try to pull off the interesting stories that we can talk about. At this point, don't do that, because right now, if you guys want the stories, I'll find out. We could talk, blah. And I know that's like saying, hey, come here, not there, because I need the views. Hey, guys, come here, not there. I need the views. We could talk about that. One person can look up these stories and we could talk about them. Don't go to these fucking places. This right here, CBR. Why would you go to some place that won't let you talk about something you want to talk about?
What's really funny is that they don't know how to play the game at all. Really, they're just making DNC even bigger. He's possibly going to be on the Joe Rogan show. So they're really just making him an even bigger name.
Because
This is one of the few cases where bad publicity actually is good publicity.
Another thing too is that they talk about like how he's a horrible person and all of this other shit, but then you really only need to look at the Twitter timeline of a lot of the pros and see half the shit they say.
But here's the thing: I'm going to shut down that argument. I'm going to shut that argument down on you by bringing up them. And here it is. And mind you, this is out of no hatred, of course. You're my boy. I love you, man. But here's the thing: if we are saying, or if we're saying that they are looking at their own morals, they're making their moral discussion without actually seeing things through, I want to take all of that off the table. And I would say, well, right here, because it's like, oh, he said this. We know DNC has said some things that from the other side can look colorful, to say the least.
Okay.
So if we could say, we can point to their side and say that they have said things colorful, to say the least. Has nothing. If you take all of that off the table, you're still dealing with someone who does not want you to talk about what they don't want you to talk about.
I'm not sure how this is shutting me down. I'm a little
okay. Well, okay, you're right. It's not but I'm a nice guy. I'm not gonna slam the door on you.
I agree. The whole moral side of the argument is just a moot point now.
But I mean,
that's what I'm talking about.
But the
morality of it. They did it, therefore we shall do it. We did it.
No. The thing is the thing is this. Their only argument is a moral argument. That's all their argument is.
Which can be turned around to
morality is a fruitless endeavor,
but that's all their argument is. It's just an argument about he said things that were horrible. So we have the right to exercise to do whatever we want to do.
Yeah, and the thing there, of course, is that since they didn't censor everybody that did this kind of thing, they are not against it. They just want to be able to say who is allowed to say it.
I'm not even really sure what we're arguing, to be completely honest, because I agree with you. I don't understand.
No. You're right. You agreed. So what I said was kind of arbitrary. It didn't need to be said. But the point being is that's what's going on here. It's like I said they before, and I'll say this, not just about them trying to shut DNC down, but they don't shut down Michelle Perez because she said that, she wants to cause all sorts of real violence.
Everything is justified because we are the good people and they are the bad people. Therefore, the bad things that we do are not the bad things that we do, and the good things that they do are not the good things that they do.
Also, some of the shit that's said by them, a lot of it's just bait, really. Like that's why they say half the crazy shit they say. It's just bait. It's not even that's why you have a lot of people like Daryl Ayo who'll come out of nowhere and say the shit they do. It's just bait. They just want somebody from DNC's camp to say something. That's why you have like weak ass trolls like Susan Auger. They just go on fishing expeditions to get y'all to say something stupid so that they can then say, look at what
were those two guys, Melissa Gary
Moore,
something or other,
Gatty and Paler, and
They were all just bait things to get people to look crazy. And you don't. Yeah, there's no need for us to help them. This shit right here, man. God damn it, this pisses me off beyond anything because I would like to see excuse me, I would like to see a discussion. I don't want to see you fucking SJWs, I hate you because you did, you fucking comics gators, I hate you. I would like to see two people sit down and chat this thing out.
I mean,
And I would love to see somebody who's actually a representative. You know, I would like Doug Ernst, myself, DNC, Captain Cummings, Captain Frugal, you know, somebody's really in there who's going to give a good discussion with somebody who might give a good discussion over there.
You mean like Yellow Flash?
Oh God.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I need to give myself a laugh.
Wait, here's the thing about YF. Like, that dude has, like, not a great reputation with a lot of people, but his points aren't really bad. Like, his point, like Englentine agreed with some of the points he said. He doesn't really make terrible points. It's just, some things happen.
Mm-hmm. I just hate that apparently he was on one of the internet blood sports things, so he's the one that's sort of representing us to the larger, like, Skeptosphere crowd.
I mean, like, well, that's good and bad, because Yellow Flash does have Yellow Flash kind of appeals to the whole, like, we want blood kind of thing, but then if you don't, but then if you're more moderate, probably not.
Well, here's the thing. The whole we want blood kind of thing.
That was early, Doug.
Ancient Rome doesn't work now.
And he mellowed out.
No. Here's exactly what. There's a way to be politic.
Yeah.
About it, and there's a way to not be. It's like, you know, watch. You can actually talk to somebody. You can be out for blood while making them look stupid and not you. If you go out there and it's and you're yelling epithets and slurs and all that kind of stuff, you're out for blood, but you're making yourself and your movement look dumb as fuck.
Yeah, you have to be cognizant of the larger game at play.
Yeah, that is what I'm talking about.
Insults without slurs are actually really effective.
That and if you can turn the arguments, if you can make the other person look stupid by them arguing for their point, that's the way you want to be, because you want them to look stupid while remaining calm. If you're going out there and you're yelling and screaming, or if you're you're going to shoot everybody in the foot, you're going to shoot the movement in the foot. You know, there's no real need for it. You're not going to do anybody any favors by going out there and just, you know, slur, you know, that kind of thing. Let me go to I've kind of ignored the comments here. I apologize, guys.
No, like, it's all relevant. It's all relevant.
You can't have a discussion with those who feel there's nothing to discuss, but they do feel like there's something to discuss. Montanui says he does like Yellow Flash. That's cool. What kind of SIG quote is that? I don't know. Blood Sports is trash tier internet content now. Anyways, I've never seen it. I stopped watching the Worski brothers when they stopped making videos. I love Comics DNC shouted out Yellow Flash in his Dodge City review video. That's cool. Well, from a marketing perspective, Yellow Flash has good hair, a slim figure, and rides a motorcycle. Does he?
No, I didn't know he rode a motorcycle.
Got to drop out. Have to prepare for Deadpool 2. Enjoy. It's a fun film. I think you'll have a good time with it. Kumite and Worski were the peak of that nonsense. I liked their videos, but when they started doing live all the time, I just found them to be boring. I happen to be Austrian, German, Polish, Dutch, English, Welsh, Danish, Irish, Scottish, French. That's a whole bunch of people sleeping with one person.
European mongrel.
Yeah, I'm a Yellow Flash fan. He'll be the first to admit that he's not a role model. You know what? He may just be. It just might not be a good one. Because you cannot decide if you're a role model or not.
Mm-hmm. It's not up to you. It's up to the people.
Yeah, it's not up to the person being the role model. I've been hearing that for the last 20-something years when people called Charles Barkley a role model, and he said, "I'm not a role model." Yeah, he just wasn't a good one.
You don't get to choose when you're under the spotlight.
Yep. Damn, your making of must have been huge. Okay, I don't know what that is. Have fun, Pope size. Have a good time, Pope size. Let's
63
see.
viewers. Nice.
Nope. I want to physically assault them. I'm a tiny Filipina. There's not a jury that would convict me.
Good luck with
tiny Fist of Fury are still Fist of Fury.
This is true.
Yep. Filipinos, they're like Asians who went by the way of Brazil. It's like a little mix of Spanish and Asia in there. I don't know who Kumite is, but used to watch Warski until I realized the stuff he was on way ability. I like I said
that wrong. It's Kumite.
Kumite, am I? Okay. Says Kumite. So Yellow Flash is Charles Barkley. I did not say that. I just said I remember Charles Barkley saying a similar thing. Agree. Seriously, every time I read random comments by you, it's something effed up. Yeah, actually, yeah, Jacqueline, she can hold her own. That is something. I got to give her props on that.
We got 64 viewers. God damn.
Cool. That's awesome.
That's pretty impressive.
Somebody must have typed out, "Holy shit, Englantine's losing his head." You know. Yep. Englantine's losing his shit over bisexuality. Everybody come on. Yeah, that's that would get people to watch. So yeah. Okay, this I want to find this on everything. I want to see if this is happening on Bleeding Cool, on Outhouse, on what are the other news sites, comicbook.com, on because it's fucking ridiculous. And one of the main reasons it's fucking ridiculous is they will not condescend to actually sit down and chat with any of us.
Because several reasons. One, they feel like they'd give you guys any sort of platform to them is endangering to the narrative. It endangers the narrative.
Yeah, that's why they hated Count Dankula's Nazi joke, because they think of the populace as so stupid that even if you cover something negatively, people will fall for it.
Yeah, the thing is, in giving you guys a platform would hurt their narrative, because then they could see that you're not raging misogynists and bigots and shit. So it's just easier to just, at least for them, to just silence you, to just silence you.
And also,
that's what I see it as. They can't play the victim card. If somebody sits if I actually had one of them, say if Mags comes down, sits down, she's going to have to, or he's going to have to deal with the fact that I will respect, and I will treat them with respect, and we'll talk about the books. Of course, I will have to bring up the tweet, and I'll give Mags a chance to explain it and to say what they need, and it will end up being, holy shit, they're not all racist. And here's something that pisses me the fuck off. It just blows my fucking mind every time I goddamn hear it. It just gets to me because I had this fucking discussion with Mark Wade, goddamn it, and he pissed me right the fuck off with this shit. First of all, they say this, DNC and all of his people, all of his fucking followers, everybody who's ever liked him. And by the way, I don't follow DNC. I don't follow him on Twitter. I don't follow him on YouTube. Two reasons. One, you follow him on Twitter, you're blocked by fucking everybody. On YouTube, the man does 52 fucking videos in a day. So if you follow him on YouTube, your feed is goddamn wall-to-wall DNC. And I just don't need that much in my life. Thank you very much. So, okay, occasionally I go and see a video. No hatred or anything. Don't nobody, oh my gosh, he said this. Because fuck that shit. I'm done with it. But here's also something I'm done with. They say all of the fucking followers of DNC, all of them, everybody who says this, everybody who thinks this, everybody who's not with us, all, fucking all. Yeah, it pisses me off because I've had this conversation. Hold on. I am in a fucking rant, and I have had this conversation with Wade. And I said, well, you have texted me. I am not this kind of guy that goes, well, then you're not the guy I'm talking about. Fuck you, Mark Wade. Yeah, I was, right up to the moment where you should have realized you were fucking wrong and admitted it, and he didn't.
So
fuck him.
I've seen this is the trick a lot of little SJWs will do. This is what a chick I used to be friends with did to me. They'll speak in generalities But when you call them on it, they'll say, "Well, I'm not talking about you." But then said all. But then you are talking about me.
Yeah, as soon as you use that fucking word "all," you're talking about all.
Yeah, it's just a way. It's just a way to move the goalposts and keep from having to actually deal with like contradictions in the argument you made.
Well, it's also so they don't have to have a substantive conclusion. They can just change arbitrarily with the fucking winds. Because they need that safety net of I can never be. It's the unfalsifiability thing. It's the I can never be wrong, therefore I'm going to choose the most general position I can so that anytime someone tries to call me on something, I can just go, well, that's true in this instance, but what about this, and this?
Yep. Oh, hey, by the way, once again, I am worked up today, guys. So
I love it. This is awesome.
Englentine came to play apparently.
Like anime Englentine is fucking awesome. I love
it. There's just a lot of stuff going on today. It's just pissing me right the fuck off.
Like a fucking anime character. I love it right now.
And now, of course, I am.
Finale, you didn't lose, so.
Now, here's the thing. I do, I try to see both sides of the story. Not that I agree with both sides of the story, but I believe if you can see their point, you can argue against it a lot better. So I've been breaking my fucking balls trying to see the other side of this, the other side of shutting the fucking conversation down. The only thing, of course, I would have to see the post would be that they were getting basically people fighting all through it, and they weren't really discussing. That's the only way I would see that closing. But that's not what you fucking said here, is it? That's not what they wrote down here. They didn't say, hey, it got toxic, or we were having arguments rather than discussing the book. It didn't say that. It just said, fuck you guys. Of course, I'm not being literal. I'm not verbatim on this, but
no one wants to fuck you guys. Cyclops? Really?
We don't agree.
I mean, I'm willing to throw down if anybody has.
It only makes sense in the worldview of the populace are stupid. We are the moral and intellectual superiors. They think things matter. We don't because we're enlightened. Therefore, we have to get inside anything they think matters and show them that it's not. And when they whine, they're just the children and we're the parents. That's the only.
Guys, do you mind if I do a live video?
Go ahead, do your live video.
Do you mind if I do a live? Everybody's done this. Even by the way, go to Mr. E2099. He's a really cool cat, and he does anime and comic book reviews. Quiet guy for. When he's on video, when he's on live streams, he's a lot more vibrant though. But he does some good stuff, and he just recently did a what he thinks Comics Gate is. And of course, we get this so fucking awesome. Not awesome. So freaking. I forgot the word. I'm so freaking livid. I'm losing my language. No, where it means often. Often was the word I was trying to find. Sorry, guys. I apologize for this. We get this so freaking often, how they absolutely know who we are. They absolutely know who we are. So they have these opinions already made up about us. So here's the thing. Here's the live review, and I'll cut this off, or the live video, and I'll cut this part off to put out by itself. This is Comics Gate. Comics Gate started with Captain Cummings. That's who started it. He had been around, and by all means, please watch his earlier videos because they are a lot of fun as you watch him try to find where his channel should be. I've got videos like that myself, and it's an awkward period. It's an awkward stage before he found his niche, which was politics in comic books, in the comic book field. And I wouldn't doubt that Howler Mouse had something to do with that because he had been doing that around the same time. Captain Frugal was on a couple of live streams with them after I found them. And that's where I was like, yeah, you know what? I want to talk about this too. And I started doing mine. It all started with Captain's Cummings and Frugal. Then I popped up. And from there we had DNC. Now Doug Ernst had been doing a written blog, and he jumped onto YouTube. I did this video saying, hey, we're all the same. And I pointed out that, you know, if you watch DNC, Cummings, and myself, we always talk about the same thing, but we are actually different people. And I said, who else have you heard? I shouted out Frugal, and people said, go see Doug Ernst. And that's where that's where the community really started.
And that's how I ended up getting my second family.
There you go. Now, here's the thing. According to everybody else, they'll say it all started with the milkshakes. No, we were there before. We were fighting the good fight before that. And then Milkshake Day happened. And that's where a lot of the second wave comes in, where you got your comics divisions and your weaponized nerd rages, your crumple points, and so forth and so on. That's where I found out about Mim Headroom as well. And that's where the name comes from. That's where it started taking off, that people didn't see what was actually going on. And Make My Milkshake wasn't about, we hate this woman. What happened was Heather Antos made a couple of, accusations that people were sending her emails. And if you had questioned it, if you wanted to have the evidence, which I did, if I'm going to condemn someone, damn, I actually want to see evidence. If you did that, you were then labeled a sexist. And if you continued to argue that you weren't, the more sexist you became. And that happened for like 15 fucking straight hours. And I was actually amazed at how long I was on Twitter arguing, because I felt I have not made one goddamn video today. All I had done, and this is my problem on that day. On the day of Make My Milkshake, I argued on Twitter for fucking 10 hours. I swear to God, it was like and every time I stepped away from it, I wanted to get back to it, because God damn it, I had to because it was pissing me off. I'm fucking fighting with Ron Mars. I read his Green Lantern run. I have literally stuffed women in refrigerators just to emulate him. Not really. I'm just kidding.
Isn't that bitter dog, man?
Yeah, it's just God.
I stuffed my spare eyeballs in my refrigerator.
There you go. Point being is, you know, we're fighting with comic book professionals over this stuff, and it's like Ron Mars goes, "We need more women writers." I'm like, do we need more or do we need better? Oh, you're a sexist. Why are women? And I asked him, why are women just inherently better at writing than men? I didn't say that. Well, yes, you kind of did, didn't you? And if you argue for better, or if you argue, you are immediately put over. You are a sexist. You're one of them. You are one of them. They are the sexist.
Yeah, meritocracy is a 4-letter word, apparently.
Apparently so.
Mostly because, honestly, here's one thing too. Honestly, it's just easier not to have to argue your point if they just repeat the same. If they just repeat the same buzzwords, and it pisses you off. Like that's how come some of them will just throw buzzwords at you and then laugh, because they know that pisses you off. They just want to react. Some of them just want a reaction from you, so that you'll say something angry, and then they can just can quote tweet it or copy and paste it and be like, "Look at what this racist said to me."
And this is the other thing too. A lot of times it's not a conscious effort they do, it's subconscious, because deep down they can only conceive of someone disagreeing with their ideology if those people are immoral.
I even disagree with I don't fully disagree with you, but I don't think it's ideology. I think it's morality that they can't see anybody disagreeing with.
Their morality.
If you they attach it to it. They attach morality to their ideology. So if you do not agree with the ideology, it's because you're morally wrong, not because you're intellectually wrong.
What Englentine said is spot on.
So anyway,
spot on right there.
This is where it was. And from Make My Milkshake, we started really going after, we want these good books. Of course, the America reviews, the Iceman reviews, everything comes out. And they just use these to show, look, they hate gay people. They hate Hispanics. You can see they don't like these books. And my beef had always been, you are racist. You are homophobic because you accept poorly written characters. You don't care. You said it yourself. We don't need good. We just need them. We don't need them represented well. We just need them represented. Unfortunately, Comicsgate did take a turn, because it stopped being about comics and it started being about Twitter. That's when you see a lot of the people who were there on Make Mine or there before the whole Comicsgate thing, they kind of pulled back a little bit. I'm not here for Twitter drama. I'm here for comic books. Then that's when you get the next wave of people. And now, of course, Cummings never stopped, and neither did DNC. Of course, we got the rise of Yellow Flash and so forth and so on. So there's obviously a niche out there. There's obviously an audience for that, and you can't put them down. If that's what you want to do with your channel, it's your channel. Go right on ahead. But Comicsgate has changed its focus, and that is nothing we can really deny either. It doesn't make it good, doesn't make it bad. It just means I think it's actually expanded. You have a lot of Comicsgaters who are like myself. I am really just paying attention to comic books and comic book news. I'll talk about identity politics as it pertains to geek news, but I don't go to Twitter and look for stuff that happens. Occasionally you have to. Occasionally somebody says something so vile or so or something like that that you just have to talk about it. The Twitter stuff revolving around Jawbreakers is more about the reaction to the comic book than it is this person said that and aren't they evil. But there has been what started off as people receding. It's been more of a split. So now you have different groups and different factions of Comicsgate. We're not at war with each other, and we shouldn't be at war with each other. Just some are more focused on Twitter. Some are more focused on what's in the books. And yeah, one is more popular than the other, and God bless them for their success. That is my view on the history and what Comicsgate has become and is. Everybody else put their 2 cents out about it, and I just felt I would. If you ask me who I like in this, I'll probably still stick with the old school guys, you know, because I still think Doug Ernst is interesting. I love Captain Frugal videos, Division. I like Crumble Point and Mim Headroom. Corrupt here does some good if you like Savage Dragon and weird stuff, you know. But that's what I wanted to do. Everybody else got their 2 cents on what Comicsgate is, and I figure I would put mine out there. Thank you very much for letting me
rant number 3, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
we should just call that. We should just call this stream "Angry Teen."
I like it. I think like
Angry Teen.
Like it,
yeah.
We need a bit more. Like we need a bit more passion in the conversation. Honestly.
Well, usually I do. It's just I'm more controlled and I'm more, you know, even-handed and such. But today, man, this is fucking pissing me off. This should not be a thing. Nobody should say, "Hey, I don't want to talk." We're gonna shut down the fucking conversation because I don't. It should never be a thing. Sure, if people get on there and they're being hateful and they're fighting with each other, okay, moderate that shit. But shutting it down, fuck them. I'm sorry, I cannot get behind this. I really cannot get behind this at all. I mean, like I said, there is no reason for what they said is abhorrent to me. It's a horrible thing that they said there. If they said, well, people were fighting, we shut it down, I can understand. That's fine, you know, because I've seen that happen before. It's understandable. If a thread starts off, hey, we're going to be talking about red licorice, and all of a sudden you're talking about ice cream. Well, it's no longer a red licorice forum. We're going to shut it down. Fine.
Well, I consider CBR to be sort of an art. Like I consider CBR and Bleeding Cool to be sort of like arms of the industry, honestly. And if the industry doesn't want certain books talked about, then they're just going to comply.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'm just seeing if there's any stories here to talk about.
Oh yeah, who doesn't want to talk about Luke Cage? Woo!
I hope it's better than the first season. That's all I got to say. Still time to vote for Superman and Lois Lane's greatest story.
My dad absolutely loves Luke Cage. He sometimes likes to binge watch the entire season more than once.
Yeah, somebody sent me a message. Can't look at that.
He also is very critical about Black Lightning.
Who is?
My dad. He absolutely loved Luke Cage, but he could not sit down to watch Black Lightning because he couldn't stand it.
I liked it. I thought it was all right.
I thought it was good too. Though the season finale did kind of fall flat.
I didn't even know it was up to the season finale, to tell you the truth. It was ended. I was like, oh, that was it? Oh, okay. I don't know. Let me see what we got. It would be nice to focus on saving the comic book industry instead of ideology. It's hard to criticize when criticism is harassment to some people.
Hey, Mr. Reed just joined us.
Mr. E2099's on the line?
Yeah, he's on chat.
Oh, hey, Mr. E was just talking about you there, brother. How you doing?
Yeah, Mr. E, what's up?
Hey. And Tell Corrupt Cartel Forever is Fat Panther. Fat Panther, I was talking about you last night about how I miss your memes and those videos you used to do with Captain Cummings. And if he's not going to do that, if you want representation, I'd be more than happy to do that. I think they should be shared. You do awesome memes.
Fat Panther's memes are fucking amazing, man.
Yeah, they're great.
He needs like exposure again.
I mean, obviously it's Captain Cummings' baby. So if he wants first dibs to get back into it, by all means, because but if honestly, not, I'll take it.
So here's honestly what I think that the industry needs. We need a sort of return to balance again, to balance out these two like forces that were in the community, because before Captain Cummings was he was the, I don't want to say leader of like the shit posters and shit.
Oh, he was. I will say that right up. And here's something I will say. He's one of the only shit posters. Because and here's something that me and Jay Fairclough we've talked so much about. To me, a shit poster can take it as well as dish it out.
Yeah.
If you're gonna whine and cry if somebody says something about you, but you're saying, "Oh, I'm a shit poster." No, you're not. Sorry, you're just a little bitch.
Yeah.
If you can't take it as well as dish it, then yeah, you're just a little bitch.
Yeah, and we need somebody who we kind of need that balance where the shit posters can kind of go, and the people who aren't shit posters, who are just like, like comic book fans and shit, can sort of like gather under.
Hey, somebody send Mr. E the link there.
All right,
sure, I'll do it.
All right, you want to do it? All right.
Yeah, hold on.
We kind of missed that. We kind of missed that dynamic. Where comics, somebody to gather about.
Oh yeah, now I remember what I'm doing. Okay.
Well, I think, and for as much as in the past we've had our words, and of course I have nothing wrong with DNC now. I think DNC has become the guy that we've rallied around more so than ever right now.
Yeah.
Just give me a second. I'll
tell you the truth.
Just need it
might not be for the movement. It's based around Jawbreakers, and I think a lot. I read some tweets. I know I'm like everywhere right now, and I apologize, gang.
All right, Mr. I sent you the link.
I read some
Twitter feed.
I read some tweets where people were talking about Jawbreakers, and it was like a sports team. They were using terms like "we" and "we're going to do this" and "we're going to show them" and "we're going to," and that's when I thought that was kind of cool. So yeah, DNC right now is being rallied around. Whether or not you agree with him, whether or not you do, and I don't agree with him on everything. There's actually not a lot I do agree with him on. We definitely not comic books. If you ever watch a DNC review of the same book I did, we're usually we're going in opposite directions. Not all the time, but usually. So yeah, but the thing is right now he is doing something that is really showing the other side that there is an interest in something other than their ideology. And that's something to rally around.
That's really scary for a lot of them too.
It is now, and that's whether or not you agree, whether or not. Say again.
Excuse my analogy, but their ivory tower is crumbling around them because they keep using its bricks as ammo over their position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's the Teflon Dawn. If you guys remember the Gotti thing.
Yeah.
Every time they try, it's like the Wile E. fucking Coyote. They're like the Wile E. Coyote trying to stop Roadrunner. Every time they slap a black circle on a cliffside, DNC just runs right through it as if it were a tunnel.
Yeah, and he just keeps just keep getting more and more support, and that's frightening to them because they can't shut him down in any effective way, and they know that even if they were to get his Twitter shut down, like most of his fame and shit comes from YouTube. So but most of his views and shit come from YouTube. So
Elijah, I haven't seen it. I'll check it out. Elijah's asking, did you see my tweet on Jawbreakers? It's pinned on my feed. I will check it out. Here's the thing. I was going to roast a DNC book. I picked up Chaucin and I read it. And it was boring. It was not even. I just didn't care for it at all. He made a comic book. That's one more comic book than I made. He's got this other one coming out. So I'm not the big fan of Richard C. Meyer's writing. That being said, I'll stand behind him on the Jawbreakers thing, man. First of all, I know it's got John Malin art, and I was selling John Malin art on my videos long before I even met him. So, you know, you got to get that. But I'll stand behind Jawbreakers as a movement, you know, for at the very least, because that's what it's become. On Slick Dude says rallying around DNC is not about agreeing with them. It's about defending the community. I think that is a good thing and part of a problem as well. I'll get to that in just a sec. There's a big difference between insulting creators and insulting fans. That I think is also true. It's the same difference as in what we see with Donald Trump. You can insult the president, but when the president, if he starts insulting like regular citizens, we would look at him a lot worse.
Yeah.
Sent you a PM on Twitter, Mr. E. Okay, you're good. Legacy characters have always been bad, except, you know what? Nightwing took the Batman mantle. I like that. You had James Rhodes take the Iron Man armor, and that was fine. So, yeah, not all of them have been bad.
Yeah, what's up, Mr. E?
Hip-hop hobo. John Malin's first time on the stream, pretty awkward. Love it, and I love bringing it up where he comes on and he just yells. What's going on, Mr. E?
I haven't spoken to you in a long time, Mr. E. What's up?
That was my favorite college boy.
Pretty good. Back home for summer break.
Nice.
I just gotta say, the whole CBR banning the discussion thing really is it's the worst move they could make.
Absolutely.
George R. Martin wrote in A Clash of Kings, if you cut out a man's tongue, you're not calling him a liar. You're just proving to the world that you fear what he has to say.
Who?
George R. Martin, the guy who wrote the Ice of Song and Fire series that became Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones? What's that?
Really?
You've been sitting under a rock this entire time?
No, I'm just fucking with you. I wanted to see who.
Oh, thank God!
Congratulations.
Is just firing
I am so gullible.
Yes, you are, sir. Fished in. That would be us in the 90s. Fished in. Thank you, Wayne's
I only
World.
have enough room.
They said it was done purely by the mod team. I wonder if, but I have to think that that the CBR themselves actually did sign off on this, because considering this is a major community.
Let's see. Yeah. Oh, Wally West became the Flash. Samurai Raccoon. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. But here's okay. So we're seeing that in the comment section, Jawbreakers has become a symbol. Never insult the fans. The harder you hit us, like iron, we will get stronger with each blow. I kind of agree with this stuff, by the way.
That was a very stoic statement.
Yeah. And I don't know, guys. I'll say this also. This book has to be awesome. It's already going to be the worst reviewed book as far as mainstream reviews are concerned. It will be. Just get that in your head.
I will find it hilarious if Linkara also joined in on this comic bashing.
He could. It won't be as Linkara, though. It'll be during one of his, like he does box openings with his wife and all that kind of stuff. It'll be during one of those. I doubt he's going to get on.
Yeah, he's unboxing.
It's already a good premise. So, and the art is good. So it's just like the characters need to be good. I think that's really the key.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why I'm saying this book needs to be great is if it's not, it's almost going to delegitimize. Or I should say it could. It doesn't. It's not that it will or it won't, but it could, because a lot of people are putting the entirety of Comicsgate behind this book, and that's one of the reasons. It really has to be good, because it is now become a symbol, not just of Comicsgate, but of the freedom from what we're getting from Marvel and a lot of the more social justice warrior independents. Samurai Raccoon, wouldn't surprise me if you really didn't know what Game of Thrones was. Actually, I love that show. I watch it quite a bit. no Asians, but still they're pretty hot chicks on that one. Anyway, no, it's a good show. I like it. I'm like everybody else though. I like the first 3 seasons better than the last 3, but you know.
To me, whether or not Jawbreakers is good or bad, it's not the issue. The issue is that before they even knew whether or not it was good or bad, they were already trying to, you know, get it pulled from the publisher, trying to, the stores were colluding to not stock it. The thing is, like, as much as we like, all right, we'll bash on like something, like if we see a promo released, like I did for Exiles, like I shat all over that thing. But the thing is, in my video I said that, okay, I don't believe it is.
Hold on, you went robotic. What did you just say?
Be good. I said that in my Exiles video, I said that if something like Epic will concede that we might be wrong if it hasn't come out yet, but they just went insane before anything about this book had even come out. And it doesn't seem to me that DNC was even making this a book about comics. It's just
no, it wasn't.
It's a superhero.
No, it wasn't supposed to be. No.
John Mallon was on a stream here and he was talking about it, and he said this was just it's just a comic, and if everybody had just let it come out, and this, I truly believe this, if they had just shut up and let John and Rich put this comic book out, then it would have come. Some of us would have bought it, some of us wouldn't have, and then it would have gone. And it would have been just like any other comic book, but they didn't. They made a big fuss. And what happens is you get impassioned people who go, well, fuck you guys. I'm going to put another $15, $20, $25, $50 into it. And they're going to put that out there.
That's the thing. That's why I always quote the Napoleon quote of never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. Because these people are so fucking authoritarian and so sensitive about how the culture is going and want to control it, they will make absurdities of themselves because they are advocating an absurd position where they are the elites, they are the moral and intellectual parents, and we're the children who they have to take the toys away from because we're abusing them.
Yeah, it's amazing that it's gotten this far. It's amazing that it's gotten to the point where a comic book news site is saying we're not going to talk about that, and that might actually end up happening too. There might just be a complete and total shutdown. Like, we're not going to talk about it. If I were one of them, I would buy one. I would give the $50 so I could get the book. And if it was horrible, oh my gosh, I would put that everywhere. I would do exactly like we do with America Chavez. If Jawbreakers is a horrible book, I would be ripping it apart page by page and shut it if I were them.
To be fair,
otherwise,
to be fair, I can't imagine anything being as bad as America.
Well, to be fair, I agree, except for I just read a Thor book not too long ago that could have been. And I just read Black as Fuck Orphans.
That was one of the stupidest things I've ever read.
I read Black as Fuck Orphans and whatever you call it, which was really bad as well.
Orphans. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I don't know what the full title was, but yeah, that ended up being so.
God, I hate that.
Honestly,
I swear to God, if I was a superhero, Kwanzaa would be in my rogues gallery. I swear to God.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. What did you think? Yeah, we went on a few tangents and everything, and it ended up being 45 minutes long, this particular section of the video. It was like a 3.5 hour live stream. And it's fun, and I enjoy doing these. But what do you think about the subject? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you do like this video, please click like. Of course, share. Get word out about the channel. And if you like, please hit subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Also, this is the way I'm trying to make a living. So if you don't mind going on over to Patreon, helping the channel out, helping us to get new equipment. I'm really trying to get a new computer and some new software to run that. Anyway, to make better videos for you. So I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that, who's gone over to Patreon, dropped the $1. And And to everybody else, all the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.